All right, welcome back. Today is Unit 8, Day 4. This is on page 17 of your packet. I'm going to be referencing the unit circle, so you may want to pause this video and get one out. We're going to be doing a lot of solving today. And solving basic trig functions. So when we're going to solve, I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about the answers. I'm going to talk about sine and cosine. We're going to do some tangent stuff, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to have to kind of combine what we did with last unit with this unit. On example 1, I'm going to solve for x. Well, kind of. I'm going to solve for sine x. All right, so I have 2 sine x minus 1 equals 0. I add 1 to both sides. I get 2 sine x equals 1. I divide it by 2. I have sine x equals 1/2. Alright, so remember sine is the y value. Alright, so even though it says sine x, remember x is just the variable, so it just means, whoa, that was pretty, so it just means the value of the angle. So a couple new things we're going to be doing. So because it doesn't say, like on your test last time, we had indication of whether you should give me in degrees or radians. It doesn't say degrees or radians here. So when you're looking for these, I want degrees and radians. If it doesn't specify, you need to give me both. So I'm looking for on my unit circle where the y value is equal to positive 1/2. Alright, so positive 1/2. So if you have filled out unit circle, it actually tells you both right away. So I have 30 degrees, which is pi over 6. And then I also have 1/2 for the y value, so 5 pi over 6, which is 150. Alright, so these are my initial values. Now, we talked about a long time ago, back in January, about coterminal angles. Coterminal means, remember, I have an angle measure like 40 degrees. Coterminal means if I go around in a circle from there, so plus 360, I will end up at the same spot. So 40 degrees and 40 plus 360, so 400, are coterminal because the angle is made at the same spot. They're just a circle apart. So we have to kind of combine that idea into this. So when I do this in terms of degrees, if I don't say within one circle, which this is just solve, whenever you do degrees and it says solve this, this is plus or minus in degrees 360 n. So n just means I'm multiplying by, I can go around as many times as I want, positive or negative. In terms of radians, if I go around in a full circle, that's 2 pi and n. So I might go around 1 time, so 2 pi. I might go around 2 times, so that would be 4 pi. So when you do these, it could be 30 plus or minus 360 n, 150 plus or minus 360 n. So this is all degrees. And then I do pi over 6 plus 2 pi n plus or minus, sorry. And then 5 pi over 6 plus or minus 2 pi n. So this just indicates to me that it's not one time I hit this angle measure, it's multiple times around the circle. So this is just in degrees and this is just in radians. And this won't change. So when we're doing this, if you give me degree, it's always going to be plus or minus 360 n. And if it's in radians, it's plus or minus 2 pi n. Later, like a couple pages down the line, it's going to tell you in one circle. So between 0 and 2 pi, just one circle. When it's open-ended like this, so it doesn't say I'm limited to one circle, you need to add and subtract these. Okay. Alright, so number 2. Solve for this. So I need to minus my root 2 over. I need to add my signs together. Solve for the sine theta, so I'm just trying to get the sine or cosine or tangent by itself. Okay, so I'm looking at my circle where the y value is going to be a negative root 2 over 2. So in degrees, negative root 2 over 2, 225 plus or minus 360n, and then also 315 plus or minus 360n. Now those are the same spots, just get the radians for it. So 5 pi over 4 plus or minus 2 pi n, and what's the other one? 7 pi over 4 plus or minus 2 pi n. Okay, so this just means, again, remember, if when I'm adding or subtracting 360 for degrees or 2 pi for, oops, that's not a degree, a radians, it just means you can keep going around in a circle. Once you go 225 and go around in another circle, and another circle, and another circle, I can hit that spot infinite number of times. So the n is just the number of times you're going around in a circle. All right, next one, solve for tan. Add 1. Divide by 3. Tan. Square root. Okay, now this is where you have to be careful because I'm doing square root, so I'm doing plus or minus. Square root of 1 is 1 over root 3 is root 3. All right, so this means from here, since tangent is y over the x, I'm going to have the y values be a 1/2. Don't rationalize because it makes it almost a little bit more difficult. The y value is going to be a 1/2, and the x value is going to be a root 3 over 2 because the bottoms would cancel out then. So there's my 1 and there's my root 3. So I'm actually looking for plus or minus the order pair of x and y. Now it's different combinations of positive and negative, so it's going to be in several different spots around the unit circle. So in terms of degrees, I have 30. I have 150. Look at your unit circle to get these. I'm not coming off the top of my head, I'm looking at my unit circle. 210 and 330. Okay, and all these are plus or minus 360n. In terms of radians, get their radians. 30 would be plus or minus 2 pi n. 5 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6. And 11 pi over 6. Sorry. Okay, so it's really, I go into 30 degrees, I found root 3 over 2 and 1/2. It doesn't matter the combinations of pluses and minuses for them because they will cancel each other out or make the negative. 30 is pi over 6. Okay, so the next ones I will put on another video.